As the city surrendered its secrets, I began to get a fuller picture of what happened here in the streets and in the hospitals. I've seen people here with gunshot wounds and shrapnel injuries. I've even seen images of some people who were shot at by troops using anti-aircraft guns. The question now for investigators will be who gave the orders for these soldiers to shoot at their own people, because under international law that could be defined as crimes against humanity. The man in charge of Benghazi, the commandant of the city, was one of Gaddafi's own sons.
We are in Venice for the film festival at Gaddafi party, the biggest party.
Saadi Gaddafi is well known on the international party circuit. He was also captain of the Libyan national football team and played professionally in Italy. We now know he flew to Benghazi to take charge as the unrest began. We know he stayed inside the military barracks, the Ketиба. We know during the massacre he fled back to Tripoli, but what was his role in it? We contacted several soldiers who'd been inside the military barracks with Saadi Gaddafi. Most were too scared to speak in case the regime swept back into town. But one was so impassioned he did agree to talk. He was a soldier in Gaddafi's army for 18 years. Did you see Saadi Gaddafi, Gaddafi's son, coming to the Ketiba?
No.
Yes.
Did Saadi Gaddafi give the order to shoot?
When he came that day, he didn't give the order to shoot. He said to give them one more day, and then if nothing changes, fire on them.
Where did he say it, and who to?
He said it near the main gate, close to the management office, where there are army guards. When he came out of the management office, we gathered around him with officers and Gaddafi family members. We created a circle around him with him in the middle. I heard Saadi Gaddafi with my own ears. I swear to God. I headed for the capital, Tripoli, to search for Saadi Gaddafi. When we arrived, Colonel Gaddafi had been consolidating his power in a bloody clampdown. Unlike Benghazi, people here were too scared to speak openly. We were told suspected dissenters had been dragged from their homes and some of them killed. There had been pockets of resistance, but they'd been swiftly put down, and the foreign media targeted. Our car over there. So this is the difficulty. This is part of the clampdown. People in plain clothes come along and tell you that you have to get out of the area, and of course then they all sort of scatter, but they have arrested some of my colleagues, and they have tortured some of my colleagues, so when they come and they tell you to get in the car, there's not a lot of choice. There'd been pro-Gaddafi rallies around town, people convinced the rebellion was driven by Al-Qaeda. That's what the Libyan leader was telling them. Some were passionate supporters of Gaddafi, others were simply rejecting unrest and the unknown. We wanted to find Saadi. Meetings were set up and then cancelled. It'd be his first interview with Western television during the crisis, and it'd be difficult to question him closely during such a crackdown. Finally, after 5 days, we had a call inviting us to meet him at the zoo. Saadi, he owns all these lions, but there's one he's particularly fond of, which is in the cage just over there, but he's very keen on wildlife.
It was 2 weeks after he'd fled Benghazi, and I wanted to challenge him about his role during the violence, which was led from the headquarters of the military barracks in the city, the Katiba.
You have a special relationship, don't you, with Benghazi? Because you're commandant, aren't you?
My father sent me, in the beginning of the crisis, sent me to go to talk with the people there, to see what their demands are. And then they start attacking the Katiba and the police stations, and then they took the weapons. So then I have to leave, because it's very unsafe.
And who were these people who were attacking the Katiba?
The fundamentals.
Did you go to the Katiba as well? I understand you were there.
Yes, because we have a house there.
And did you address the soldiers at all?
No, it's not my job.
I think somebody must have given orders for the soldiers to shoot at some stage.
When those guys, they came with the weapons, they want to attack the Katiba. Of course, they weren't going to get in, and they will kill the soldiers. So they have to defend.
But they haven't got any weapons, these protesters, at that point, have they? They're just shouting and making a lot of noise and throwing stones.
No, they have weapons. Yeah, there's shootings. It was extremely dangerous, the situation in Benghazi.
The testimony from inside Benghazi's military barracks firmly implicates Saadi Gaddafi for giving the orders.
When Saadi Gaddafi said this to you and your colleagues, how did you react? Did you all say, yes, we will do it, or did people say, no, this is a bad thing?
The response was Allah Akbar, Muammar and Libya, and everyone started cheering. I'm not saying the whole army did that, but the ones surrounding him. Most of them belong to the Gaddafi family and their supporters.
What we uncovered in Benghazi will be of interest to the International Criminal Court, the ICC. It's already investigating the Gaddafi family for crimes against humanity. It's identified events in Benghazi as being of special interest. It'll want to know who was in charge, who had authority. For now, Saadi, like his father, remains defiant.
How do you see the future of Libya now? How would you like it to resolve itself?
I think we will be more united. We've never been divided before, and this is the first time. And as soon as we solve all the problems, all these issues, we will be very happy, and we will never be divided again. This is a very hard lesson.
Yes, it is, and because there have been a lot of deaths, haven't there? A lot of people have been killed in this. How do you think you're going to win back Benghazi? I mean, it's the second biggest city, isn't it? And there's a lot of people there determined not to come back into your father's rule.
There's many ways, but I think the priority now for the Libyan people and for the government is to restore the security to Benghazi. Those gangs, those mobs with the weapons, we don't want to see them in Libya anymore.